Welcome back, Bay Area Ballers. If you live and breathe Warriors basketball, slap that like button and subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report right now. You won't want to miss a single play-by-play of this roller coaster ride. Tonight, we're confronting a harsh reality. Our beloved superstar, the man whose deep bombs and gravity-defying layups have carried Golden State to so many epic nights, has issued a verdict nobody wanted to hear. He won't be Superman for Game 5. His strained hamstring simply won't let him don the cape. It all unfolded on Tuesday afternoon, when reporters gathered courtside after practice, hopeful for a glimmer of optimism. Instead, Stephen Curry, 8-time All-NBA team selection and 4-time champion, stood before the microphones and delivered a line every Warriors fan felt in their bones. "I'm not physically ready to go for Game 5. No qualifiers. No, we'll see tomorrow." It was definitive. That grade 1 pull picked him off the floor in Game 1, and despite leanness in the locker room, despite the doctor's best intentions, Steph's body has simply refused to cooperate. He said the team will reevaluate on Wednesday, but league sources hint that he's targeting a return not until Game 6 at the earliest, only if Golden State can scrape together enough resilience to extend the series. Now, let that sink in. Without the man who averages over 24 points per playoff tilt, whose gravity-altering pull-up threes force double teams in the blink of an eye, the Warriors suddenly feel vulnerable. We've seen flashes: Jordan Poole's fearless drives, Draymond Green prowling the paint with feral intensity, but it's not the same when Curry, our offensive spark plug and invincible closer, isn't on the floor. Could this twist be the beginning of a new era of role-player heroics? Or is it the final nail in a dynasty's coffin? Some insiders believe that the supporting cast, already battle-scarred from a tough first-round slugfest, could rally and rediscover that championship DNA. Others whisper that Maxwell of Majesty, Steph's pseudonym among locker room loyalists, was the adhesive holding this championship juggernaut together. Without him, cracks could widen into gaping chasms. Remember that electrifying stretch last season when Curry scored 56 against Orlando? Or that transcendent dunk on OG Anunoby, where he soared above the rim like he had springs in his sneakers? Warrior Central still shows gifs of those moments in an endless loop, proof of what's possible when Steph's body is willing. But now, with a hamstring that tightened in the fourth quarter of Game 1, every highlight reel feels like a haunting reminder of what's missing. Let's talk numbers. In the first round against Houston, Curry was averaging 24.5 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, efficiency through the roof at nearly 48% from the field and 42% from deep. In Game 1 versus Minnesota, he poured in 13 points in under a half before crumpling to the hardwood. Since that moment, the Warriors have dropped Games 2, 3, and 4, outscored by a combined 18 points in second halves without their leader. If you project those margins over 4 quarters, Golden State's offense dips by nearly 8 points per 100 possessions, a colossal swing against a Timberwolves squad that thrives on defensive aggression and transition speed. Could this absence finally force Coach Kerr to unearth new tactical gems? Perhaps he'll deploy a 10-man rotation that balances Poole's explosiveness with Klay Thompson's veteran calm, letting Kevin Looney and Jonathan Kuminga shoulder more defensive burden. Maybe Andrew Wiggins, currently sidelined by minor knocks, returns early to plug the gap, though relying on his streaky third-quarter scoring comes with its own set of question marks. Some insiders even speculate that a mid-series signing could be on the table, an under-the-radar veteran point guard whose familiarity with Kerr's system could stabilize the backcourt. Could the Warriors activate that rarely used veteran exception for a short-term lifeline? It's possible, and desperate. Measures sometimes yield heroic outcomes. Yet, let's not sugarcoat the stakes. The Timberwolves, led by Anthony Edwards' 30-point barrages and Karl Anthony Towns' mid-range mastery, smell blood in the water. They sense a golden opportunity to eliminate a legacy franchise on enemy turf. For 3 straight seasons, Minnesota, has stumbled in the Western Conference Finals. This would be their moment to seize a signature playoff series win, igniting fan bases from Minneapolis to Memphis. Win Game 5, and they're halfway home. Lose it, and the Warriors force a potential Game 7 back in San Francisco, with Steph possibly back and the Oracle of Oracle Arena chanting his name. Could this dilemma be the crucible that cements the Warriors' indomitable spirit? Some fans point to 2019 when Kevin Durant was lost for the finals and Klay erupted for 30 points in a Game 5 nightmare at Toronto. Proof that when one hero falls, another can rise. Could the same alchemy occur now? Is it possible that Jordan Poole transforms into the primary playmaker, that Moses Moody embraces a breakout playoff role, that Draymond channels his inner piranha to suffocate opposing guards? The possibilities are as exhilarating as they are uncertain. The media frenzy amplifies every rumor. ESPN's trade deadline takes "should Golden State consider a desperation move" to the front page, while TNT analysts dissect second unit fit for free agents. Meanwhile, social media erupts with debate. Can the Warriors survive without Curry's gravity? Fan accounts Photoshop Poole in a Curry jersey, debate shot distribution models, and even mock-up hypothetical box scores where Klay drops 50 and Green logs a triple-double. One thing is clear. Without Steph, this series no longer feels scripted. It feels like an audition for new heroes, for coaching ingenuity, for a fan base hungry for redemption. Could this adversity spark the greatest comeback in recent memory? Or will it cast a long shadow over a dynasty that seemed destined for immortality? I won't pretend to have the answers, and, truth be told, I wouldn't want it any other way. This suspense, this edge-of-your-seat uncertainty, this raw exposure of what makes Warriors basketball so compelling, that's the essence of playoff drama. What do you think, Warriors Nation? Will the supporting cast step up in Steph's absence, or is this series slipping away? Personally, I believe in the heart of this team. I believe that the spark Steph lit will ignite others to carry the flame, but I'd be lying if my heart wasn't pounding at the thought of seeing our season end without our leader on the floor. I can't wait to read your take in the comments below. If you felt every word of this breakdown, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report, and ring that notification bell so you're front row for Part 2, where we'll unveil the potential Game 6 blueprint and what it all means for the rest of Curry's legacy. Until then, keep the faith and stay golden. Before we dive into the next chapter of this roller coaster, make sure you hammer that like button and subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report right now, so you're locked in for every twist and turn. Now, Warriors Nation, let's turn our attention to what happens next, how this team can claw its way back, the strategic gambits Steve Kerr might deploy, and the emotional firepower needed to overcome the loss of our chief. With Steph sidelined, the immediate question is who steps into that vacuum and how the rotation morphs on a night-to-night basis. Jordan Poole, fresh off that explosive 30-point eruption in Game 3, looks primed to assume primary ball-handling duties and take on a true sixth man of the year workload. His fearless drives and ability to create separation off the dribble could catalyze the offense, but Poole must balance aggression with precision to avoid turnovers that could tip the scales against a hungry Timberwolves squad. Meanwhile, Klay Thompson's role evolves from off-ball sniper to midway creator. Defenders will key in on Poole, opening glimmers for Klay to catch and shoot or slash into the lane for mid-range pull-ups. The synergy between Poole and Klay will require near-telepathic passing reads and unselfish motion to replicate the fluidity we lost without Curry's gravity-affecting defensive schemes. Draymond Green's importance rockets into the stratosphere. No longer just a defensive anchor and secondary facilitator, Dre must morph into the engine room of this unit, marrying his trademark playoff intensity with veteran poise. His screen-setting angles need to free shooters like Moses Moody and Gary Payton II, while his help defense rotations must suffocate Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns on every possession. Imagine Draymond intercepting a Towns entry pass, springing the break and launching a trigger-fast outlet to Poole, streaking down court for a thunderous finish. These momentum-shifting plays could swing entire quarters and keep the Wolves off. Balance even as they hunt for blood. Let's talk front court rotation. Kevon Looney, tasked with manning the paint, must anchor the glass with Herculean effort. His rebounding prowess will determine whether the Warriors can snuff out second-chance opportunities. If Looney racks up 12 to 15 boards, as he's done in pivotal playoff runs, Golden State can survive a reduced offensive efficiency. Behind him, Jonathan Kuminga's athleticism provides instant offensive jolt. Kuminga's slashing ability and strength in the post offer an unpredictable wrinkle to a Minnesota defense that will be keyed in. Andre and Poole. Throw in Clay's early nights on tournament veterans like Andre Iguodala, or even an emergency free agent guard Kerr could sign for a one-game burst, and you have a patchwork cavalry ready to storm the gap. As for X's and O's, Kerr has a toolbox full of schematic surprises. We might see a small ball Looney lineup: Poole, Thompson, Kuminga, Green, and Looney, maximizing floor spacing to stretch Towns out of the block and daring the Wolves to beat them from deep. Or perhaps a two-point guard death lineup, with Poole alongside Chris DeVoe, if Kerr reintroduces his two-way killer to push tempo, force Minnesota into a track meet, and win on transition. Defensively, the Warriors could leverage more, zone packages or box-and-one coverages to disrupt Edwards' rhythm. These unorthodox looks would test Minnesota's adaptability and buy precious minutes for the second unit to keep intensity high. Off-the-court leadership will matter just as much as X's and O's. Draymond's pep talks in the huddle, Kevon's under-the-radar locker room presence, and even Jordan Poole's budding swagger could galvanize a squad desperate to prove that strength in numbers isn't just a slogan, it's a creed. Imagine the bench erupting when Poole nails a step-back three, or when Looney tips the ball to himself for a putback that sparks a roar. These moments could coalesce into an emotional tide that carries the Warriors back into contention, even in Steph's absence. Meanwhile, the calendar looms large. If Golden State can force a Game 7 back at the Chase Center, the energy of the home crowd, nervous but electrified, could compensate for any talent gap. There's historical precedent. In 2016, the Warriors squeaked into the Western Conference Finals as an 8 seed and stunned the league in hostile territory. Could this cast of misfits morph into a cohesive juggernaut under playoff pressure? If Poole, Clay, and Draymond rise, the stage could be set for one of the greatest upsets of the modern era. Now, let's cast our gaze forward to Game 6 and beyond. By then, Curry might have slipped on his shooting sleeve, jogged through warm-ups, and felt that familiar spark. His return would reshape every coach's game plan and flip the narrative back to the Warriors' court. But until tip-off, Warriors Nation must rally behind the interim heroes. Show your support on social media. Tweet your Poole power, post your Draymond defense, and flood Instagram with "We believe without Steph." The collective voice of the Bay Area has lifted us through adversity time and again. This moment demands nothing less. So here's the heart of it all. Can a championship franchise recalibrate on the fly, leaning on role players and strategic wizardry to overcome the loss of its talisman? Or will the Timberwolves' hunger prove too great, ending Golden State's season on hostile ground? Could this crucible forge new heroes who carry the torch alongside Steph? Or will we look back and see this as a turning point that altered the dynasty's trajectory forever? The narrative lies unwritten, and that uncertainty is the very essence that makes playoff basketball so intoxicating. But what do you think, Warriors faithful? Will Poole seize his moment? Can Draymond and Looney hold the fort until Steph's triumphant return? Or does this series slip away in Minnesota? Personally, I believe in the heart and cunning of this squad. I have faith that Kerr's adjustments and our role-player heroes can grind through this storm. Yet, I'd be lying if my palms weren't sweaty imagining a quiet finish without Curry's signature grin lighting up the arena. I can't wait to see your takes in the comments below. If this deep dive fueled your playoff passion, smash that like button, subscribe to Warriors News Fan, report, and ring the bell for live updates when the next chapter drops. Until then, keep the faith strong, Warriors Nation. Stay golden.